Good afternoon and welcome to Your Future Impact, the show that helps you level up your career and create the future you want. And today we're talking all about entrepreneurship, what it takes, how to begin, and the mindset behind it. I'm Helen Rivero, Career Development Specialist and founder of Your Future Impact. Joining us today we have Emma Burke, founder of sports brand Lacey's, who also appeared on BBC Dragon's Den earlier this year, and we'll be diving into that experience during today's conversation. So thank you, Emma, for being here. So we'll jump straight in. So could you tell us a little bit about your journey of entrepreneurship leading into Lacey's?
Yeah, so I didn't start out as an entrepreneur. I left school, all I wanted to do was work with animals. So left school, went to college, trained as a vet nurse. But there was something in me that I wanted to be my own boss, and I couldn't do that in the veterinary world. So I set up a cleaning company. Again, wasn't what I wanted to do, but an opportunity came about that my husband said they couldn't get cleaning companies that were reliable. So yeah, started as a cleaning company, didn't have a clue what I was doing. Google was my best friend. And that grew considerably. We had 60 members of staff at one stage, sort of full and part-time. But when I had my children, my priorities changed a little bit, and it just didn't sort of fire me up anymore, that business. So we closed that down. And the same for Lacey's, really. I didn't set out to have a kids' sports brand. I was a sideline parent watching my boys play football. And it was during one of those sessions that another little boy came and his dad put an elastic band around his football boot. Somebody said, "Why are you doing that?" And he's like, "Stops the laces from coming undone." Now, anybody that's been involved in kids sport will know that laces come undone all the time. Yeah. So we watched this little boy, and lo and behold, that elastic band did the job. And really, there was just kind of like this light bulb moment there, like, could we produce a product that works and that kids will want to put on their boots? And that was 2016, and then Lacey's was launched in 2017.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Like you say, often it's not a case of like we instantly know that we want to be an entrepreneur, but we start working and then we start thinking, well, maybe I could run my own business, maybe, if an opportunity came, which it obviously did with your experience.
Yeah.
So with those young people watching, thinking about starting a business, but they don't know where to begin, what were the first steps you took after you had that initial idea with Lacey's?
Yeah, so I mean, Lacey's is quite a unique one, because actually for me, I'd obviously run a business, but I knew nothing about manufacture, supply chain, all of these things the sort of basics of business at this stage. And I suppose for us, the first thing was to find a manufacturer. So we had like an idea in our mind that this is a product, it's going to look a little bit like this. There's a little sketch, we still got it today, of what we thought the original Lacey's band should look like. And then, finding a manufacturer. Now, there is a bit of a story there that the first one that we had produced our product for us. First batch was great, just getting close to our first Christmas, and started getting some problems, some flaws and breakages, and the quality went right downhill, and we actually had to pull that product from and kind of like literally stop sales at our first Christmas, just because we couldn't risk having something that was poor quality on the marketplace. So we needed to get back up and running really quickly, but obviously not so fast that we had another poor quality product. And LinkedIn was actually where we went to at that stage. So kind of put an SOS out on LinkedIn, and somebody then referred us to this kind of like site where manufacturers were. We were able to pick up the phone, speak to somebody, fly to their offices, which were near Leeds, have a conversation at a desk, and it all worked out well. They're still my manufacturer to date.
Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? And we often talk about, or I do with young people, talk about the value of networking and asking for help, like you said that you did on LinkedIn and things like that, because like you say, when you're an entrepreneur or you start your own business, you don't have all the answers. And I mean, searching for a manufacturer, I would have no idea. So what was how did you do that? What was the skill behind it, do you think?
I think you've actually sort of hit the nail on the head. It's asking for help. And I think that sometimes we're a little bit too scared. We think it might be a silly question, but actually, from my experience now, people that are in business are always willing to help somebody, even if it's just to answer a question or to say to somebody, "Can I have 5 minutes of your time? Can I buy you a coffee?" People that have been there and done it, the answer to them is so simple, and you might have been kind of like building this thing up in your mind that, oh, this is a huge problem, and actually it's not, because there's somebody might know somebody, and even if they don't know, they might know somebody else in this, like, this wonderful network that we have nowadays of being able to just tap into other people's knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's like, don't be scared. Don't be scared to ask a question. And talking about being scared, I mentioned Dragon's Den at the beginning and the introduction. So tell us a little bit about your experience of being on Dragon's Den earlier this year.
Yes, so when we launched the company, if I had £1 every time somebody said you should go on Dragon's Den, we would have retired by now. And so when we launched, we did apply to Dragon's Den and had a conversation with a producer, but they said at that point that they classed us as pre-revenue. We did have some sales, but it was too early. So they said, sorry, come back another time, something that we completely forgot about, to be honest. Then in 2022, there were some changes in the company. I had a co-founder who exited. So I thought, why not? I may as well just apply again. So I filled in pretty much the same application form that we'd done before. And then, again, didn't think anything more of it until the spring of 2024, when I was just about to sit down for dinner, last check of the emails, and there was an email from a BBC producer asking if I wanted to have a chat.
Wow.
So had the first conversation, which was about an hour long, and at that stage he was like, yeah, we'd love to put you forward for an audition. That's done on Zoom. But it was very short notice. I think I had like 4 or 5 days to to prepare for the audition, and I was travelling overseas. So at that point I was like, no, sorry, it's too soon. But thank you. And they said, if you change your mind, always give us a call. So I went overseas. I was in the hotel room, television with about half a dozen channels, put one of them on, Shark Tank came on, American version of Dragon's Den. First pitch came on, silicone product. My product's made from silicone. I was like, I think somebody's telling me. So I came back, made the call. Again, even shorter notice, and I think I had a couple of days for the audition. About a week later, they said, yeah, we want you on the show, but you've got to pass due diligence. So it was like a wedge of information they required. Every claim you make with your business, they need you to back it up. All of your IP, so your intellectual property, all of your financials, they need to see it and corroborate that it is what you say it is. And then I heard no more. So again, I knew they were filming, and I thought, that's it, they don't want me. And then one Wednesday evening, I got a telephone call from the senior producer to say, we'd like you to come up to Manchester next Monday. So it was less than a week, but it was quite a frantic prep time. But
yeah, maybe that's the best way to do it, isn't it? Not too much thinking time.
Yeah, there wasn't enough time to get worried.
But the main thing is you said yes.
Said yes and did it.
And
yeah.
you did it.
Yeah, you've got to put yourself out there, for sure.
Absolutely. And again, networking, putting yourself out there, saying yes, figuring it out later, I think is really, really important. Well, congratulations on being on Dragon's Den. That's incredible. And I think it had a massive impact, didn't it, on the business?
Yeah, it's given the brand so much credibility, and we probably haven't got time to go through everything that's happened since then, but the doors that have been opened just from other people seeing the brand on national television has been incredible. And people say, would you do it again? Yeah, 100%. I would do it again.
Amazing, because you got the investment, didn't you? So that's the main thing. So let's just move on to sort of technology and AI, because I think that's a really important topic. Young people are worried about how it's affecting jobs and careers. So how would you say that AI is affecting your business? Sort of the good and the not bad, but
Yeah, we'll start with the positive. I mean, every week there's a new bit of AI tech that comes out that you can implement into your tech stack that can either improve productivity, can reduce timing with some things. So inventory planning is a massive one for us, and that's been really great that we've now got sort of a piece of tech that can kind of like look at all of our past sales and kind of give us a bit of a feed of what's going to happen. If we look at the more sort of negative side of it, so I work very, very closely with a freelance marketer, and quite a lot of the roles that she did with me, does with me, I should say, SEO, blog writing, email marketing, AI has sped up some of those processes of some of that content creating. But what we've done now is we've sat down and said, okay, so we know that AI can do some of your jobs, but what it can't do is to have like the human touch. So what we've decided to do is up level that. Let's just create loads more blog content, but let AI reduce the time that it takes, whilst you then just add in the human touch to it. Now, we use a piece of software called Gorgeous that captures all of the social comments, reviews, anything that's said about our brand gets captured into Gorgeous. So we can then take that information and then retell our story using the content, the user-generated content that we've received. So we're keeping, we're a community-led brand. We're keeping that kind of community feel and that human feel, but just using that technology to speed things up.
Yeah, and I think it's a really nice compliment, isn't it? Sort of efficiency, but keeping that human touch, I think, is important with any AI and technological advancements and evolution. So you mentioned sort of your freelancers. So for those young people that might be watching, thinking about freelancing, what is it that you look for when you may be contacted by a freelancer?
Yeah, so one example is that we've got a content creator working with us at the moment, and actually I wasn't looking for somebody, but he contacted me and said, can I possibly try some of your product to make some review videos? So we sent some product to him. His review videos were amazing, and then he's like, can I do some more? And he's been with me for quite some time now, and we just give him the kind of like the free reign to create for us. Now, if somebody came to me today and said, oh, can I make some reels for you? Probably wouldn't have the headspace to say, yeah, do that. If somebody came to me and said, here's a little clip of a reel that I've made that I think will work really well for your brand, that would pique my interest, because immediately I can see that somebody has taken the time to have a little bit of a research of my brand and my brand values and what we already do, and then put their own touch onto it and get my attention. That's what I would say. You need to get my attention to be able to want to work with me.
It's so important, and I think that's a great example of freelancers that might be speculative. And I talk to young people a lot of the time and say you can't just rely on job boards to look for opportunities, because some employers just aren't simply posting on there.
Yeah.
So speculating, sending a CV, sending a show reel, sending a portfolio, or like you say, coming up with a fresh idea is really going to help them stand out from the crowd and potentially get an opportunity or pique your interest enough for you to say, actually, let's have a look at...
Sometimes you don't even know you're looking for somebody. That's the point, and I think that was the case with the one chap that we've got now. And it's like, another example is somebody that works with me in fulfillment said, can I try TikTok Shop? And I was like, do you know what? I don't know much about it. You go for it. This month, TikTok Shop is our second biggest revenue stream for the business. And that was just by somebody going, can I try it? Let's give it a go. Like, why not?
I love that. And that just goes to show, when we think about like always learning, we can't, you've only got certain capacity, I have as well. If somebody comes along that has got those fresh ideas, and young people generally have got loads of ideas, coming forward and putting that in front of you, I think is a great thing to do. So that is amazing. Thanks for sharing that. So let's talk about, what advice would you give to a young person now if they feel a bit overwhelmed or unsure about starting their own business? What piece of advice would you give to them?
So I'm definitely not one to procrastinate. If you've got an idea, just do it. I don't write all the business plans. I'll probably get lynched for saying that on camera, but that's not me.
It's got you this far. That's amazing.
I would just say, just go out there and talk to people. What you say, someone will go, actually, that's a good idea, but have you thought about doing it this way? So I would just say, just communication's key. Talk to people that you know and trust, especially if it is an idea you think somebody could pinch. But just keep talking, keep networking, and there are so many people out there that will help you. Getting a mentor is like, if you are actually then taking that next step, I would say just find somebody that's done it and that's willing just to give you a little bit of their time to help you. Usually just having a mentor, it just prevents you from making the same mistakes they've probably made half a dozen times themselves.
And how do you, with regard to sort of finding mentors, where would you say is a good place for them to look, or where did you find yours?
That's actually such a great question, and I see that a lot of people go, oh, well, I need a mentor. And I just think really look for people that have been in a similar or same industry as you, that might have exited, might have a bit more time on their hands. But even people that you just look up to in that respect. There's so many different mentors, and I think you have to kind of differentiate between a coach and a mentor. A mentor's just there to help you really not make mistakes and and guide you, whereas coaching is completely different. But again, if you don't know anybody, then start looking on LinkedIn. Start, putting just question there. Can anybody recommend a mentor for X, Y, Z? And I say LinkedIn a lot. I really feel like even as a young person, probably don't use it. It probably looks a bit boring, but I would start building a LinkedIn network as young as you can, because some of the contacts that I've got through LinkedIn have just been amazing for me.
Yeah, I think, LinkedIn, I mean, there's lots of workshops and masterclasses on LinkedIn, and, that's a starting place, isn't it, to get your profile there. It should replicate what's on your CV. I always say to young people that actually if you're going for a job or you're looking at a certain career, the one thing employers will do, especially from an HR perspective, which obviously I've sat on that side of the table, is that they are looking for, what's on your CV matches your LinkedIn profile. And I always say, encourage young people to either post on, pieces of or articles of interest. So let's imagine that might be something that you have posted and you see some comments from some young film editors, and you go, oh, okay, who's this person? So I think, the value absolutely is in professional networks like that, and getting to network. Do you do a lot of networking?
I do when I have time.
Yeah.
I this last year I've really invested quite heavily in kind of like courses and personal development, and again you then tend to be with a group of people in your cohort, so you learn from them. So I've never ever stopped learning. And each year I'm like, okay, I've done that course now, what's next for me?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can't just switch off learning, can we? We have to, whatever it is, whatever industry, whatever career pathway, you always have to remain curious, which I think is one of the key skills.
Evolving all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very fast paced. Change seems to be happening a lot faster at the moment.
Yeah. And like you say, keep learning. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much for all of this wonderful insight. It's been fascinating listening to your story and your journey from veterinary nurse to entrepreneurship. So what we're going to do now for the last minute, we're going to go into a quick fire round. So that's some random questions. Well, some of them are random, some of them aren't. And we've got 1 minute, 5 questions. So we're going to get started. So quick fire round, 5 questions, 1 minute.
Okay.
So what is one skill every young entrepreneur should build?
It's just resilience. It's just being able to take what is thrown at you and be able to bounce back from that.
Okay. What personal quality do you, when meeting someone that you might work with, what is a quality that you look for?
I look for people that understand our brand and they can align with our brand values.
Okay, perfect. If somebody you came across had zero business experience, what's the one thing that they can do to get started?
Zero experience. Just take that leap and start speaking to people.
Yeah, okay. If you weren't running Lacey's, what career would you love to try?
Something with animals. I would probably love to have an animal sanctuary. That's my exit plan.
I love it. And if your entrepreneurial journey were a movie, what would it be?
It would be a comedy, honestly. I think some of the things that happen and you think they're horrendous at the time, and then you look back, actually, it's just quite amusing.
You have to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's key.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Emma, thanks for coming today. It's been a wonderful interview with you. If you have any questions or you would like any more support with careers, interviews or skills development, you can reach us on Facebook or Instagram. Have a great day and see you all next week. Thanks.